Hello. Welcome back to my channel. This is Abby with Abby Reviews, and this is going to be my review and recap for Real World Homecoming Season 3, Episode 4. Now, because of what happened in the last two episodes, this is why I am appearing the way I am appearing, with my head wrapped up in a wife beater, because I feel like I may want to fight before this episode with no makeup on. So, if I have to knock a bitch out, and I'm prepared. But we gonna jump into it and see what happens while I'm eating my breakfast. Lord, please keep my nerves and my blood pressure together. Amen. All right, let's get into it. White will always be right for white people. Even if you are in a marginalized group yourself, you're still going to choose your white privilege over. That's the only thing that makes any sense to what Danny is talking about. Talk about when we was forced to leave and it felt violent. Again, next, leave their asses right there and let whatever happens to them happen to them. Fuck their self-preservation, fuck all of that. Just let whatever is going to happen, let it happen. Let that be the lesson for them. Let that be the lesson. Because clearly, Julie is being deliberately obtuse about this whole situation. Like, I'm just trying to live my life, and I feel like I'm just trying to live my life. Not when you put your ass on your shoulders. And after this man did single-handedly any and everything he could do to make sure that you were okay, for you then to turn around and create a narrative that he was manhandling you and hurting you on purpose with no... Tokyo, I'm sorry. Love, you should have left her stupid ass right where she was. You should have left her. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. I know you was being a good man and trying to be a good friend. And you're the friend that most of us would want if we going out for a night like that and we get that far gone. And Danny, for you to... Oh my God. Noted. He's not an ally. Moving on. The master level of manipulation and gaslighting. She just put on a master class. And then tried to flip it onto Melissa. That she's this aggressive, angry black woman who is taking over the meeting and won't let Tokyo speak for himself and blase bloom and blue to blue. But Melissa caught it immediately and she was like, oh no, not today, not on my watch. I'm not doing this, and I do not choose to participate in your foolishness. So she excused herself from the meeting. Kelly left and came to talk to her, make sure she was all right, because Kelly sees what's happening. She's like, I don't want to participate in that either. I see what she's doing, and I just don't want to participate in it. Meanwhile, Tokyo is still trying to he's still trying to smooth it out and make it okay. For your self-preservation, Tokyo, and for your well-being and mental well-health, I would suggest you walk away. I would disengage, move out of that room. I'm not doing this with you. She's tried to weaponize her white privilege and her white woman tears against you already effectively in this situation. Please see it for what it is. Please see it for what it is. And disengage completely with this white woman. Cause she gonna get you in trouble or hurt. Something's going to happen. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Not this stupid bitch is talking about the meeting. And that's not like how the meeting. I didn't like the meeting end of the confrontation. So Melissa leaves and then everybody goes their separate ways. And Kelly and Melissa are mean girly me. I know they're talking about me and they're literally being me. Girl, go to hell. Here, go to hell. I never wanted to come through the screen and fight somebody so bad in my entire life. I'm sorry, I just got so concerned. I forgot I was doing a review. I was just watching the show. Okay. Oh, God. This whole episode is about race. Melissa's parents are coming. And she has a black daddy and her mom is Filipino. They didn't show her parents coming to the house the first season, but they had there before. They went on the swamp tour, where the original swamp tour was calling the birds nigger birds in front of the black girl. And then the white people were upset because she was upset that this man was hurling around the N-word. I don't think people, oh God, listen. I don't think the white people, they just didn't, okay. Ooh, the Lord keep my nerves and my blood pressure as I try and explain this, Jesus. White people don't get why, even if, but I've been called the N-word. It was the one and only time I got suspended from school. Is a little white girl called me the N-word, and I proceeded to mollywop her ass in that bathroom. Some black people, the N-word was the last thing they heard before they were murdered, before they were beaten and sold. And then they feel like, especially modern day white people, feel like, well, it's not used in the same way and they're using it in songs, so you shouldn't have such. Please stop telling black people not about how to have an emotional attachment to a word that was used derogatory towards us. Please stop doing that. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop trying to police the narrative of how we use that word, how we've taken that word back, and no, it's never appropriate for anyone who is not black to use the word. I'm not saying a person of color. I'm not using those phrases. If you are not black, do not use the word. I don't care. I don't care how you think that makes me look, how you think that makes me sound. If you don't agree with it, that is your feelings to deal with and none of my business. If you are not a black person, and the N-word should never come out of your mouth, and not in any way, shape, form, and or context. Now, that is how I feel about the word. You, of course, in this country at this time, you have freedom of speech. You'll wait 2 weeks. That could change it as well, since they're revoking rights and shit. You currently have the freedom of speech. You can say literally whatever you would like. What you do not have is also freedom of consequences. And those consequences vary depending on who you say it to, around, and in what context. So, please be advised, if you use the N-word, be prepared to accept whatever consequences of you using that word. Okay? And now they redid the swamp tour. The swamp tour was lovely. The man didn't use no slurs, thank God. And so Jamie apologizes to Melissa because he says back then I felt like I didn't understand why you would be so upset by him using that word. And I felt like I was annoyed and I just wanted you to get over it. But now that I understand, I apologize because I was wrong. You had every right to be upset, and we all should have been upset that he was using that word. Cool, she accepted her responsibility, his apology. So they go to the couch and they said, this season had a lot of conversations about race. It's 22 years later. Has your perspective changed? And they're having this conversation, and they flash back to them having a conversation with the N word and Julie saying a bunch of racist shit at the time, and like she called us colored, and she's like, at that time in my life I hadn't even met a black person, and they was like, we understand, but at this point in life, Melissa said at the time I was the lone voice on teaching black history and all of that good stuff to and the black experience to y'all, and it was a heavy burden for one person to bear, and I felt like I was on a lonely island. She said because she didn't have a good relationship or rapport with Tokyo at the time, so she felt like it was just her on this island fighting for her life. And so, there's she's like, at this point, I've accepted my role. Is sometimes I'm going to have to be the teacher and the educator. But if you have genuine questions and you genuinely really want to know the answer, Google is your best friend. Ask Google. Go to Google University and ask them. They'll be more than happy to tell you with no bias and nothing. They'll give you the answer that you need. And Julie was like, I'm feeling every comfort. And she's like, it's fine to say that you need to get education, but it's hard when the teachers are screaming at you. Who's screaming at you? No one is screaming at you. What she's saying is that what she's trying to say is that she feels it's a hard conversation to have when you are learning and accepting your biases and what you have maybe knowingly or unknowingly contributed to this situation. So she says, so they say, who's screaming at you? And she was like, don't do that. See, again, Julie is trying to create a narrative of the angry black woman and put it on Melissa. And she was like, just say that you had a hard conversation and it made you feel uncomfortable. And it should make you feel uncomfortable because we're talking about racism. If Julie starts crying, I swear to God, I'm going to knock her out. I think a bird just flew into the window. But I am a nigga and I'm not going to investigate it. Because who the hell? There's a lot of nature out in the backyard. I won't be out there. We're going to continue. I think I'm too petty for this show because Julie has accepted some accountability for her actions, I guess. Melissa felt like her tone was a little tangy and a little stank, as she called it. She apologized to Julie. Everybody seems to be getting along at this point. I don't know if I am emotionally mature enough to be able to have done that. I may have been, but then I am very much we cool. I just don't F with you anymore. I see how you move, so I decided to move out of your way. And then, we're good. I'll speak and everything, but anything below a surface level, high and by, I ain't got it for you. Okay, so this episode ended on a really lovely note with Melissa's parents coming and everybody getting together to help cook this incredible meal that was spearheaded by Melissa's mama, Miss Mercy. And so they sat down and, had a lovely dinner, and that's how the episode ended. And while we can't have long, belabored conversations on race, I feel like this was just wrapped up in a bow a little too neatly for me. personally, but what do I know? I'm just a chick on YouTube. But yeah, that was my review recap for Real World Homecoming New Orleans Season 3 Episode 4. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a kin to tell a kin. Tell a friend to tell a kin. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.